and across the street is that same elementary school, and I'm listening to the kids playing, and it's lunchtime, and they walk out, and they've all got their little gizmos that they're playing with, and how fortunate I feel to have seen this transformation in my lifetime. And on top of that, to imagine what the next generation is going to bring to Indonesia with the technology that will be available to them. So Bandung Institute of Technology is there. The mayor anticipates making it into the next, or transforming it into the next Silicon Valley, or excuse me, because I'm from New York, it would be the Silicon Alley of Indonesia. And since we're talking about technology, I Google his name to see that he looks just like his picture online. He's 43 years old. I was 43 once, I remember that. I just learned that he had spent 2 years in Queens and has a son that was born here, so welcome back. And he's got a diploma from the University of California, Berkeley. My son, his second one, just went through the college process and didn't get into University of California, Berkeley, because they don't take kids from the East Coast, really. So I'm glad they take him. He's ending up in Chicago, so it's fine. But I'm glad they took people from west of United States to give them an experience with the United States that they can take back and apply to their country in Indonesia. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Ridwan Kamil to our microphone.
Thank you, everybody. This is a great time for me to be back in New York. Yeah, after I left New York in '99, my first city that I visited was Baltimore. Yeah, so I worked 6 months in Baltimore, '97. But the crisis, Asia crisis, hit the regions. So the employer in Baltimore told me, "Hey, Ridwan, client in Jakarta do not pay, so I have to send you back to Indonesia." So I said, "Oh no," because I already waved my hand at the airport to the whole crowd of Bandung that I'm going to US. So I feel embarrassed if I have to go home back. So I said, "Keep my visa open, I'll survive." So I went to New York with Greyhounds, sending CVs, bios to firms in Manhattan, and gladly I was accepted working for the firm named HOK, Helmut Obata Kasabong, at 6th Avenue, 18th Street. So I was working in Manhattan. I live around a small place in Forest Hill in Queens. During those lovely years, my son was born in New York. So if two places in the world that affected my life, that would be Bandung and New York. Yeah. So I'm very happy. And now, after 17 years working as an architect, working in the global economy, have a project in Middle East, in China, in many places, 2013, I decided to take over my hometown because it was not well managed, corruption, and so on and so on. So I experimented my career, and by December 2013, I was elected as a mayor. So if you see me, I'm not a typical politician. I was an assistant professor at ITB, teaching architecture and urban design. I'm practicing architecture. I have an office, so I'm also an entrepreneur. So I'm not like a political party member that usually nominated for a politician. I'm not also the incumbent. I was not also the movie star who usually have a popular vote. But I campaigned scientifically. I did a research. I went door to door. I bring innovative campaign to people of Bandung. I bring in my portfolio, designing cities and livable places. So the democracy in Indonesia is getting better. People are more to educated, especially in urban areas. Yeah. So if not by this democracy like USA, the direct election, people like me would not be elected. So this is to say democracy works in Indonesia. So Indonesia also is very unique. You have to see like this. We are the biggest Muslim country in the world. Yeah. We have more than 200 million Muslims, more than the whole Middle East combined. Yeah. So if you think about Islam, you should see Indonesia, not Middle East. Islam may be born in Middle East, but the future of Islam will be me. I'm the Indonesian Muslim, very tolerant, educated, open to new value. So that's would be the conversations that you should engage with us in Indonesia. Yeah, so that's one message I want to say also. Now I want to share also about the city of Bandung, because Indonesia has more than 500 cities and regencies. Please think beyond Jakarta. Yeah? If you think Indonesia, not always Jakarta is a center of everything. But now, as a mayor of 2.7 million, I want to bring to the world that there is a city named Bandung that can be the gateway to Indonesia economy. So I give some overview. This is a typical mayor's or governor's suits during the inauguration. So it's like Pak Ahok a bit. Yeah. So this is Indonesia, Bandung located in the West Java. We are the closest metropolis to Jakarta is Bandung. Now 3 hours by ground transportations. But President Jokowi, who I heard will be coming to USA this October, is told me, hey, Mayor, we will build the high-speed train, and I need to be finished in 3 years. So if this high-speed train, the Shinkansen type train, finish, Jakarta and Bandung will only 30 minutes.
What?
Yeah, so 3 hours compressed to 30 minutes. This is our population. That's why I think this is the best of Bandung. We are the city of youth. Out of 2.7 million, 60% under 40. Yeah, so it's all young. Why? Because they come all over Indonesia and the region come to Bandung to study. Why study in Bandung? First, the weather is nice. It's always room temperature climate. But also we have more than 80 colleges, higher institution, universities. This is the map of Bandung. While I'm fixing the old city as an architect, urban designer, mayor, I want to make the city sustainable. So I create the new city in the east of Bandung. That's where I want to bring the US and companies come to come to Bandung, because the new city will be really designed from scratch to be a world-class quality infrastructure that we needed, and so on and so on. And I'm happy to say last month we signed a deal with US company named UTC, an aerospace company, that opened the business in Bandung for more than $100 million deal. So next time I will consult it to this law firm for the contract. Yeah. But I said to them, before they were nervous because they were thinking opening business is difficult, and this is perception. Yeah. So I said to UTC, look, in Indonesia now you have two options. Either you also go through the central government or can consult it directly to local leaders like me. So I'm, as a local leader, I'm acting also as a decision maker, because by the power of decentralization, the political decentralization 2001, all powers usually have by the central government given to the local government like me. So as a mayor, I make decisions 70% of all people's business. 30% is decided by government, a provincial government and central government. But 70% I make decisions. So I'm the key driver to all the change I want to see in my city. So if Bandung become a model city, it's a gateway to economy. So let's discuss whatever. So I said to UTC, look, you don't have to worry. As a mayor, I tailor-made your needs. I know your standard. I was working for American firms, so I know your expectation. So at last, we have made a deal, because before they were about to move to Malaysia. So I said, no, stay in Bandung. When I asked why you choose Bandung, they said, you have a world-class engineer, Mr. Mayor. Plenty of them. Yeah. and the affordable cost of living, of course, and the weather is nice for creative culture. So this is a typical Sunday morning. We love to hang out in the public space in the city of Bandung. We are the best performing economy in the country today. We grow almost 9% of economy. Indonesian economy is 5 point something. The world, I don't know, US maybe, US is like 3-4. Yeah. But Bandung grow 9%. So everything you sell in Bandung mostly absorbed by the market. Because we are the medium-sized city, we are not a corporation, big companies kind of city. Yeah, this will be Jakarta. My vision to my city would be the creative economy, something that you related to knowledge-based economy, something related to scientific and related to design, culture, that kind of economy that we want to produce in Bandung. This is also the trade and the tourism is very big. 2 months ago, we were voted to be the first tourism city in Indonesia, as a city, because Bali is still number one. But Bali is an island, but as a city, urban tourism, Bandung is number one. So this map shows so many things in the layers of Bandung. There is so many universities in the layers of purple. The brown one is the strategic industry. PTDI produce aeroplanes, so anything related to making helicopter or plane or spare parts related to aerospace, aeroplane, we have that one. We have also the biggest military industry producing anything related to sniper gun, to whatever, the tanks. And I'm happy to say, last month when we had a competition of military sniper in Australia, Indonesian military number one, beating Australia and USA also.
You killed it.
We got 30 gold medals.
You got like 5, right?
Yeah, you got like 5, we got 30
I know.
gold medals.
Cleaned our class.
So be careful with Indonesian sniper. We are the best in the world. City was inherited very colonial. Yeah, we are the fourth Art Deco city. So I try to preserve the city also in Bandung. And because we are high altitude, so many destinations in the hilly side. Because Bandung is like a bowl. Yeah, we are seated on the base of the bowl. So 360 degrees is mountainous, like this one. It's a crater combined with the water lake, creating a surreal kind of water that become a destination. We call it Kawah Putih, the white crater. Many destinations like this also. We receive 6 million tourists every year, and mostly 80% are local, within 80% mostly Jakarta people, who bring cars to my city and create traffic also. So Jakarta people consider have a hobby in having traffic. Weekdays in Jakarta, they bring hobby. Weekend in Bandung. And as an urban designer, also I learned after 17 years practicing designing city everywhere. I learned that physical development is not everything. For me, as a mayor, I want to balance what I call an intangible planning of happiness. So in Bandung is the first city to experiment what we call happiness projects. So this is an example of happiness projects. One of them is providing many public space as possible. So we converted under the highway that used to be very dark, no man's land, criminals and so on, become the first movie park in Indonesia. So the poor family and people in Bandung can watch movie for free every day. Monday, blockbuster movie, next day the Korean movie, Wednesday local movie and so on. I think Kate been here, a couple of times. So this is just 3 months old. I also converted the main square that used to be fans, nobody comes. So it's totally mentality about the city livability that not really there in the previous government. I remember a couple of years ago, everybody go to shopping mall for weekends because there are no options. So I said, there's something wrong with this, because Bandung during the colonial time was the city, the garden city. So what I did the last 18 months, I converted 8 locations of no man's land, negative space into the public space. Now it's become the most visited public space in the city of Bandung. Now as a mayor, I also inherited the opportunity, also problems. Yeah? So public transportation would be my first priority. So if there is any investor or company in USA wants to invest, there are like $3 billion opportunity for this in Bandung, in the form of cable car, in the form of LRT, in the form of tram, in the form of anything that move people bigger and faster. Yeah. Because what we have now is a small-scale, medium-sized bus we call angkot that transfer people, and only 20% of my population use public transport. It's not good. It's more LA-like kind of situations. Yeah. I want to be New York-like kind of mentality, using public transport more instead of car. So we are open the bidding now, the PPP. We are this year and next year will be many PPP. So we want to be advised also how to work with these PPP projects in infrastructure. Number 2 is telecommunications. Why? Because Indonesian, for some reason, is very unique. Our population is 250 million, but number of mobile phone is 270 million. So this is the country where number of mobile phone outnumber the population. Yeah. Indonesian typically have 2 mobile phones. And the number 1 Twitter city in the world is Jakarta. The number 6 in the world is Bandung. Yeah. So I have 1,100,000 followers in my Twitter followers. So I tweet my program, I answer question of my people. So this is the reform, using this technology to create a sense of transparency. Now, in the last 18 months, I go back to the foundation of the city. I want to make the service from manual to technology. I want to transform from slow to faster service. I want to transform the corrupt system into clean and monitor system by the people. So this is not easy, but I push, and so many challenges, so many threats to me from mafia, from bad guys, but I have nothing to lose. I think this is my hometown. So I communicate with my people to Twitter. Bandung is the first city to have all department using the Twitter account. So the pothole thing is just one department. Disturbance, you post photo of disturbance, go to the department, and they will come directly within minutes. So this is a system I built now in my city. So this is the social media account of each department. We have 30 departments. Very busy conversation. Why? Because Bandung people is a social media society. We have a citizen complaint online also, yeah, in other form. Where I have a YouTube of my activities. So every time I go, I do, people just check what's the mayor doing this day or today. Yeah. So just go to YouTube and check from your mobile phone. So we're converting this many way of doing smart way of managing city. One example that very interesting, how technology really save life and time. Before the invention of this concept of smart city, for example, in Indonesian hospital, in order to get a doctor 9 a.m., the patient come 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. It's long queue. You can imagine, yeah, thousands of people doing that every day. So they waste the time not to go to the work or whatever. So I switched to queuing online. Yeah. So we make it the reform. We have a queuing online by texting and online. So simply you text your doctor's name, the clinics, and the system will reply like a visa process in the United States Embassy. I got inspired from that. You come at 9 to 9:45. That's your slot. So after you register using your mobile phone, you just go to sleep and do whatever you like, and come to the doctor exactly the slot. This small thinking 6 months ago, changing the life of thousands of people. So you can imagine how we use this kind of mentality into the whole broad range of city management. That's what I have been trying to do to reform in the city of Bandung. So the last one is what I call a new city that I have in mind, because as a mayor, I don't want just to be the firefighter, but I want to be also a visionary leader that provide the roadmap. What if my people become 4 million, now 2.7 million? So I have to prepare this roadmap. So I create what we call Bandung Technopolis. It's a new town. So I told the central government that, hey, looks the statistic. If you see this circles here, the brown circles there, yeah. This is how United States spend money for research and development, and that's how America becomes so great, accumulating this invention and so on. Like a Facebook value is like almost the same budget of Indonesian government, for example. Yeah, just one Facebook. So we should invest more, I said to central government. This is a new way thinking. They're still digesting, but I pushed this agenda. So I created a 100 hectares city to be the most livable, design from scratch, everything goodness about the best of the city in the world. I try to implement it in this city. It's not Indonesian Park. It's a city where you live, you work, you play. Before, in the mind of the previous thinking, when you have this stuff, it's like Indonesian Park, it's got fence, you got guard, and nobody walks on the street. But this one, it's really from live, work, and play, creating public spaces, and so on. This is what I did as a mayor, as an architect before. Now as a mayor, I sometimes design small stuff, yeah, to save money, because do not have to pay me as an architect. This is one of the area we create a walkable environment where the ICT staff, the startup working upstairs, and downstairs the two-story will be retails and whatever that relate to urban life. The best thing about New York is the city never sleep. So I got inspiration from New York, that creating a livability by inserting so many urban life, retail in the street level. So that's what I love. And I think Bandung is getting there in the near future. I went to Silicon Valley and I met the Plug and Play. It's a company that matchmaking the startups and the venture capitals. So I try to pursue them to open in Technopolis because we have so many talented startups in Indonesia, but never take off, because they don't know how to do business. They know how to create, they know how to innovate, but they don't know how to do business. So as a mayor that work in American business, educated here, this is my time to connect. So I'm like Nokia, connecting people, connecting with them. So this is the first block. I went to Marvell. Marvell is a semiconductor company owned by Indonesian, value billions US dollar. I pursued them to buy one of the parcel, open business using Indonesian engineers like the UTC that made a deal last month. So this is the dream that I want to show you while I'm fixing the reform of corruption, in efficient using smart city, creating happiness index, livability also. But this is the place to be. So the message from me to you today is Indonesia is in the momentum of transformations. McKinsey study shows in the 15 year 2030, Indonesia will be the 7th biggest economy in the world. In 2030, the consuming class or middle class or whatever you define it will be 130 million. So you can imagine the size of market, 130 million that can buy your product or iPad, for example, once a year. They can afford that one. So it's very big. So use this opportunity to see that Indonesia has a new face. My generation, the early 40s, now taking over many cities from bottom up. So many fellow mayors are the same age like me, and mostly educated also overseas, like mayor of Bogor, a city close to Jakarta. Is a PhD from Australia University, now become a mayor. So I'm a Berkeley graduate, also become a mayor. So I'm combining this local wisdom, local spirit with the global thinking, so on and so on. So while discussing the discussion within the short period of time, maybe there is some video later, but that will be more or less what I have been doing the last 18 months as a mayor, and I need your support because I know my limitations, I know my constraints, I have so many challenges, but with the support from you from New York, especially, I think I can bring this, the modern Indonesia through Bandung, become a reality. Thank you.
I think you have a few minutes for questions. I'm going to start out with making a suggestion, Ridwan, to you on behalf of some of our members. The Chamber's had we've had an informal project among us, including some of the law firms, Citibank, to try to get Indonesia interested in a method of financing for infrastructure, which we use in New York, which is municipal bonds. So instead of doing a PPP project where you want to build some infrastructure, you would float the bond. Now, the Indonesia's credit rating is quite high.
Which is good.
Which is really good. But there's some regulatory hurdles. Now, we've discussed it. Andrew has an expert on municipal bonds in his law firm. We have Citibank, which is the largest underwriter. We could help you put a team together just to discuss the idea.
Yes, that would be great.
You need to think about this for the future because it puts you in the driver's seat. You don't have to wait necessarily for an investor. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which you do with a PPP.
That's true. I don't think I can meet my dream, my vision, unless there is a financial innovation. This is my concern, just to get you the statistic. My budget every year is only $500 million US, and half of them go to salary. So I have only 250 million per year times 5 years of my time is only 2.5 billion US. To create the Bandung that works and livable, I need 7 billion US at least. So I'm short of 5-something billion dollars. Unless there is a way, the business side, the financial innovation, I don't think I can reach that point just using my limited resources.
We can talk about this later, but I want to.
That's why you have to come to New York more, because a billion
Yes.
here, a billion there, it's all right. It's all
Yeah, so
sloshing
many
around downtown.
good things financially happen here.
You know, you're
It's in the
talking
center
about
of the world.
Yeah.
Juna,
Somebody's-
alun-alun, setelah itu Teknopolis.
All right, so I have a microphone which
Nggak usah pakai musik.
I will pass around to the next person that has a question. So, who has a question here?
Well, we have a question and answer. I play video, without sound, just to
Okay.
get you to see what's happening.
I'm going to bring this back to Margaret and then to Ron in a second.
Thank you, Mayor Ridwan. I'm Margaret Scott, and I'm a journalist, and I teach here at New York University. And I actually met you with Pak Anies Mata during the legislative elections in Bandung.
Oh,
My question,
yeah.
I hope it's okay, it's a political question.
Sure.
You and the president of Indonesia and Ahok, the governor of Jakarta, are all because of direct elections, as you said, and it's a sign of vibrant democracy in Indonesia. And you also last year did a very brave thing where you distanced yourself from the party that supports you because they were against direct elections, which is how you got into the mayor's office. I'd like to know why you did that and what that means about the future of the largest Islamic party in Indonesia and why you chose to be with them to begin with. and going back to your frame that the future of Indonesia and the future of Islam rest with you?
Okay, that's very tough questions. First, as a non-political party member, I bring my profile to every party before the election, and nobody wants me. To Partai Demokrat, they rejected. To PDI, the current winner, they don't want me. They didn't want me. So all the party rejected me. But I remember 1 month before election, I showed my survey. And I said, look, my survey looks good, and I'm going up, yeah. Whether you come with me or your party will not get a win, yeah. So the Gerindra, the Nationalist Party, Prabowo's party, and PKS, the Islamic Party, didn't have the good candidate on their own that time. So I said, let's do this. We have nothing to lose, yeah. We are experimenting. I have a good survey. You don't have the good candidate, so that's the reason. So I don't have ideological reason to be nominated by Gerindra or PKS. It's just coincidence. That time, that party didn't have the candidates. Yeah. So during the process, so I'm not member of both parties, even though they are nominating me. So when they said, hey, direct election will be taken back and going to the indirect election, what is the problem if you go indirect election? All the nomination of 500 mayors and governors will be decided by elites in Jakarta, not by people. Because we have to persuade the elite, the owner of the party, and But I consciously, publicly say I'm against this, the indirect election, because I'm the product of direct election. After I'm mayor, I'm betraying what makes me, yeah. So I said no. That's the reason I publicly says no to this.
And now we've returned to direct elections. We should underline that for those that don't.
Yes. We're back to direct elections.
Back to direct elections.
Islamic Party?
Sorry, Boo?
Future of the Islamic Party from your point of view.
Yeah, I think this is the good questions. I think the future of Indonesia democracy will be lies on nationalistic perspective. Because when Islam become political party, it's segmented, and not moderate Muslim Indonesia like this concept. That's why even though we are 87% Muslim, but the votes for this Islamic party is very, very small. If you combine the whole voters, I think 75% favor to more nationalistic party. So that's why I said, yeah, we are unique. We are Muslim biggest, but we are not Islamic state, and we're not really into Islamic party.
Pak Ridwan, I may have blinked, but I don't think I heard any reference to sports facilities. Sports. I'm not talking about golf courses. I'm sure you've got many, but an outlet, sports outlets for the young people, for the older people.
That will be already in my plan. As a mayor, that's part of the livable concepts. Yeah. So we are having already the biggest soccer stadium in Indonesia, new one in Bandung. But I have a project, one district, one sport facility. So what I am doing, I'm buying lands everywhere, every year, converted into two things, public space and sports facilities. So it's not shown yet in my portfolio, but the concept is there, I think.
Another question?
This is, while we'll be having a conversation, this is the video for the Bandung Technopolis in the form of animations and video. Okay.
Ridwan, my name is Rachel Cooper. I'm at the Asia Society, and I really appreciated your talk on so many different levels. Our institution really looks at Asia from a three-dimensional standpoint, so not only policy and economics and education, but arts and culture. And my area is arts and culture, and I've, of course, been a great lover of Indonesia for the last 40 years. Not quite since the 50s, but I did go to Bandung very early. And so my question is about understanding the international exchange, the idea of arts and culture as a kind of international exchange that allows people in this country to know not only Indonesia, but Bandung better. And also because I have a project that's called Creative Voices of Muslim Asia, to understand the more tolerant and kind of visionary Islam that is so home to Indonesia. I just wonder if you can speak to that.
Yes. I'm a bit unusual as a mayor. Mostly mayor in Indonesia never go abroad to send a message. Yeah. So reason why, because I live outside Indonesia for more than 7 years. So I travel many places to more than 100 global cities. So I learn civilization of other cultures. Every time I go back to my society, my people look, I said, other places do different way for same issues. So we have to learn. That's why I bring my staff here, because learning others is very important. I like this because I live in New York. I went to UC Berkeley. I work for SOM, American phone company. So all these, what you call it, experience creating who am I today. So that's why cultural exchange, I want to engage more, because the more you have outsiders to come to your culture and vice versa, you have these conversations, and it's not a short-term game like me now. I got the game now after 15 years. Yeah. Before I never thought I'd become a mayor, but now as a mayor, I'm a driver's seat of change. I can make decisions. I can send people. I can whatever. So that's why I went to Facebook yesterday and Twitter. I said, look, Indonesia is the biggest Facebook and the biggest Twitter. Mayor, what do you want? I want my people to have an internship in Facebook and also internship in Twitter. Because I was also come to USA because of internship. Because of that door, they changed my life. So I want to bring this experience. So to as a society, I humbly ask with Bandung, because I can make decision. Let's discuss in more detail how we can explore. I have a financial capacity now to have artists in residence to Bandung. Just send good people to Bandung. I'll cover all the living costs and everything.
And
Ridwan, you worked in Baltimore, and I'm wondering if you worked for...
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
While we're discussing, this is our command center, designed like a Star Trek cockpit. Yeah, it was 3 months old. So I control everything from here. Yeah.
James Cook is here?
Yeah, James Cook is in New York now. So basically, just very brief, sorry, but we have everything to control internal management, everything to get data outside, to make analytic and decision, and to communicate with my people can be handled from this. Even next week, I will launch a panic button. It's a 911 without calling. If in case of emergency, you press your screen of your mobile phone, and the alarm will sound in my command center with the GPS location, and the police will send it. Okay, go ahead.
My question was, you said you had worked in Baltimore.
Yes,
And I'm wondering if,
during the peaceful time.
were you working with DDG?
Yes, that's the DG.
Okay.
Roy Higgs.
Roy Higgs.
Yeah.
Roy Higgs was
Roy Higgs was my first employee.
He was a chamber member.
Oh,
He was one of our members way back. Alan, do you remember Roy Higgs?
His company now is back
Yeah,
in business
with
industry, very big.
Chiputra. With Chiputra.
Yes, so Roy Higgs also.
And we did an event with Roy, and you probably were the backbone, because Development Design Group was working on projects in China for Chiputra, which is an Indonesian real estate developer. They were doing some design. And Chiputra Group couldn't translate the documents into Chinese, even though they're Indonesian Chinese, but they're like third generation. So Roy must have had Ridwan in the firm working on these projects, but Roy would tell me, I have to have my all these documents translated from Indonesian into English and then into Chinese and then back to do this work for the Indonesian developer. But Roy, with you, Ridwan, did some of the first mixed-use developments in Indonesia. They won many prizes. So this was really, I didn't know that until today.
I think the lesson learned about my story with Roy Hicks of DDG is this internship program.
Yeah.
It is the giving of the DDG to Indonesia, because they have so many business in Indonesia, they have a snowball effect until today. So my pledge to your company in New York with the Pak Konjen, please have an internship program. It's 3 months or 6 months to my people. But in the future, the long term, who knows, they become the mayors, governors, president in the future. And that's how America can change my society in this kind of way.
Yeah. We have a question over here.
This is the pothole Delta Force.
Good afternoon. Congratulations, Mayor. It was a very impressive presentation. And I'm Jerry Shea. I worked for 23 years with the New York State Department of Economic Development as Director of International Trade for the state. And there's some things I think we could share so you don't make the mistakes we made. You can make your own mistakes and learn from them.
Okay.
But one of the things we have is business incubation. We have about 70 business incubators in the states grouped together in an organization called the Business Incubator Association of New York State. And we should be sharing best practices. We can do that. Another is we're not seeing enough Indonesian students in our colleges and universities, either as undergraduates or as graduates. For a population as large as Indonesia, the number of students that are studying here is minuscule. We should work to improve that, and it should be a two-way exchange. I'm from Albany. It's the capital of New York, the same distance from New York City as Bandung is from Jakarta. And you know, as mayor of a city as important as Bandung, much of the attention of the world is focused on Jakarta. We feel the same way. Nonetheless, in upstate New York, we attracted the largest private sector investment in the last 12 years, a semiconductor manufacturing plant called Global Foundries. The investment is $12 billion. 3,000 people are now working there. Obviously, the multiplier effect of those jobs is incredible, and they just announced 600 more jobs. So these are all experiences we would be very happy to share through the chamber, through Wayne, through Chef Yono, who lives in Albany. And I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I think that's very generous of you to suggest this one. The reason why is, number one, post 9/11 affected my people. 2013, I was got invited to speak at my university, UC Berkeley, UCLA, got an award in UPenn, but I didn't get a visa, because maybe of my name, Muhammad Ridwan Kamil. Yeah. So my family already got the visa, only 2 weeks, but only the husband and the father, like, takes 3 more weeks. Like, yeah. So I missed the West Coast lecture. So this still, become an issue. That's why the student in Indonesia who afford middle up going to Australia, mostly, the closest one, the more. Yeah. So I'm just pleading to United States to see this, because time is changing. Yeah, and Indonesia is very modern Muslim, moderate like me. So number one, there's an issue, but I can become the middle guy to explain. Number two is please have an internship also, yeah, to get this thing become a real projects. Number three is Chinese government very aggressive. So we have to balance the geopolitics. Why? The day I left Bandung to United States, I received the Madam Vice Premier of China to Bandung. She wanted to do the historical walk, the famous Asia-Africa historical. He said one point to me, Mr. Mayor, we have $50 billion ready for everything in Indonesia. So unless you guys do something and balance this thing.
Yeah, but
They have to do.
The Chinese are good at offering a lot, not necessarily following through. So just remember, they can say
so
that.
that's why we have to
I want to point that out.
We have to work together. Yeah, we have to work together to change this mindset, to change this, imbalance of things. So that's why I'm here, because my life changed because of American education. I have to pay respect to America also. Last question, maybe.
Over here. Yeah. Kate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get you the
And Kate
microphone.
wearing a very nice batik. Yeah, Kate.
That's right. Look at that. Yeah.
It's got a Bandung batik.
Thank you. I actually had more of a brief comment than a particular
Yes,
question.
of
It
course.
didn't come across in your presentation, but I just wanted to let the group know, and anyone especially who is here and just meeting the mayor for the first time, my work in Bandung has been with community-based organizations, with people who are of a very low socioeconomic status, who are struggling with things like living with HIV or struggling with drug addiction. And everybody in Bandung respects and loves Ridwan Kamil. And I think that it's very unusual that you have a leader who not only can speak to people like you and I and have an incredible plan and a vision for their future, but who also is beloved by people who do not have the same opportunities as you and I always do. And so you didn't say it in the presentation. I guess you're a very humble person, so it's hard to say that. But I wanted everyone in the room to know that even at a very low socioeconomic level, no matter who someone is, there's a lot of respect and appreciation for Mayor Kamil's leadership. So thank you.
Here's the theory. Jun, ambilin itu Jun yang alun-alun Bandung 2 foto itu. Here's the theory. As a lecturer, I love to read books, of course, researching. I learned 4 types of leadership in the humankind history. Number 1 is leadership type number 1. You follow the leader because of his preaching. That goes to the prophets, So we follow because of his teaching. That's leadership, Or ideological leaders. Number 2 is who conquered geographically. That's the king. That's the Julius Caesar. That's the Genghis Khan. That's type number 2. Type number 3 is the revolutionary leaders who liberated. That's Sukarno. That's Mahatma Gandhi. That's Kemal Atatürk. Number 4 is the leader from the crowd, which is President Jokowi. Because President Jokowi not presenting himself like a president, like a king, a distant kind of leader. He loves to mingle, he loves blusukan, he loves to be part of the daily thing. So, as a mayor, I learned this. So I'm exercising the 4th leadership. So I back to work every day. So I queuing to the cinema every Saturday night with my wife without privilege ticket. So I'm teaching people that I'm no different with my people, except I'm busier taking care of their lives. So doing this, sending the message that everybody can become the leaders. You don't have to be rich, you don't have to be the son of the political party owners, or you don't have to be super star, You're just average Joe guy and become a mayor. So the Pak Jokowi, me, is changing the landscape of the mindset about the leadership. That's how I'm very close with my people. Why? Because I have a Twitter account, and people tweet to me every minute. One day, Mr. Mayor, I have a math problem. Can you come to my home to fix my math homework? It's an elementary school tweeting to my account, asking the mayor to come to her home to help the math problem. So this is how dissolve the distance using this social media. It's very powerful. So when I went to Twitter yesterday, Twitter said, Mayor, you bring the Twitter beyond the expectation, because I'm using the social media to experiment of managing cities, not only just personal tweets or uploading personal event. So this is the new Bandung. If you see the before, it was dark, it was criminal, so many bad things. Now, because the weather is nice, it's like New York Bryant Park in the midsummer day. Okay.
Thank you. Before you go, I want to bring you a gift of knowledge.
Okay.
A number of years ago, we looked around and we saw that there was not a modern dictionary from Indonesian to English. And so we went about figuring out how to publish it. The author is with us today, Alan Stevens.
Oh, great.
Alan's a linguist. Why don't you come up, Alan? Have a picture here with the
So
mayor.
Bapak bisa bahasa Indonesia? Oh, bisa. Terima kasih, Pak.
So Alan created this dictionary with an Indonesian, and it's now in its second edition. So we would like you to have a copy, and it is now up to date with all the modern words, business words, scientific words. So thank you so much for coming today and speaking with us.
One thing I want to tell you about another pride of Indonesia. I just learned from Google last month that Indonesia is the country that mastered 3 languages, #1 in the world. So we speak Bahasa, I speak English as a 3rd language, and I speak mother tongue language, Sundanese, is the 1st language. So Indonesian in average, never underestimate, they speak 3 languages. So there is a saying, never make fun of people speak broken English, because they might master other languages. This is symbolic. I have something for the team, but one is the Bandung Technopolis. Maybe I'll give you more later. Yeah.
Yes,
Some is in the chair by the door. It's an investment book of Bandung also, and this is a special every Wednesday in order to preserve my culture. Every Wednesday, I ask all Bandung people to speak first language, which is mother tongue language. So if you come to Bandung Wednesday, people will speak Sundanese.
And do they wear this?
And they wear this. So, but every Thursday we speak English. So we try to upgrade Bandung people to be. Well, this is for you, and please wear it. It's adjustable. There you go. It's more like a king in